USS Slater DE-766 and her crew got underway from the Orange State Pier in Key West, Florida on the morning of 18 July 1944. With a special sea detail set, Slater departed the waters of Florida and held a general quarters drill. Shortly before 0900, she entered the torpedo practice area and held a man overboard drill. At 0939, Lieutenant Sandiger and Ensign Philibin came aboard to oversee the torpedo practice. Multiple torpedo bombers made simulated attacks on Slater, and on their second run, one of the four torpedoes hit a glancing blow at frame 159 on the starboard side. No damage was reported. After completion of the drill, the ship secured from general quarters, and two men were added to the sick list. W. Moyer, Seaman Second Class, and J.L. Carey, Seaman Second Class, were not feeling all that well on this date. Later that afternoon, 11 more torpedoes were dropped and, fortunately, none struck the ship. Once completed, she sailed full speed for the Orange State Pier and moored port side with 6 lines. 3,600 gallons of fresh water were also received. The next day, with the captain at the con and navigator on the bridge, Slater returned to the torpedo training area and began sailing on various courses and speeds for the exercise. 2 torpedo runs were completed this morning. The motor wellboat was lowered at 12:16 and took off for unknown reasons. It returned to the ship at 1600 and Slater resumed torpedo exercises. 2 more runs were made on the ship before she returned to port and moored with 6 lines. On the 20th, Slater proceeded full speed to the torpedo exercise range. Ensign Filbert came aboard at 0830 to act as the liaison officer for the Fleet Air Wing 5 during the exercise. Shortly after the exercise commenced, a torpedo struck Slater below the starboard waterline between frames 40 and 41. Water began entering the ship and flooded the ice machine room. Nothing more is mentioned, so the crew must have patched the hole easily. She returned to her mooring later that night, and Lieutenant Harold Poulsen, the executive officer, returned to the ship from his emergency leave. The next morning, Slater's depth charges were removed for storage at the Naval Ammunition Depot at Key West. It took just under 2 hours to complete, after which 5,500 gallons of fresh water were received. And on this date, G.W. Coleman, ship's cook 3rd class, reported aboard for duty. And finally, Slater rounded out the day by shifting berths from the Orange State Pier to Pier 5 at the Naval Operating Base. The only thing of note that happened on the 22nd was a full crew and ship-wide inspection by Lieutenant Commander Marcel Bloch. 4,365 gallons of fresh water were also received. On the 23rd, Francis H. Shovelin, Motor Machinist Mate 3rd Class, returned to the ship under guard of Shore Patrol. L.A. Chapman, Seaman 2nd Class, was also returned, but under a Marine guard. After reading articles for the government of the Navy to the crew, stores were taken aboard, and some potatoes were removed. On the final day of the week, Lieutenant Rayburn came aboard to act as pilot in getting Slater underway from Pier 5. With the assistance of yard tugs YTM 349 and YTL 297, Slater cast off from the Naval Operating Base with Lieutenant Rayburn at the con and the captain and navigator on the bridge. Once she cleared the base, Lieutenant Rayburn and the tugs departed. After reaching the torpedo target area, captain's mast was held. Herbert Cully, Seaman 2nd Class, was awarded with the loss of 10 liberties for failing to man a special sea detail. A. Cusati, Fireman 2nd Class, was awarded also the loss of 10 liberties for being asleep on watch. J. Zolek, Seaman 2nd Class, received the same punishment for also falling asleep on watch. F.R. D. Giovanni, Ship's Fitter 3rd Class, was issued a deck court for insolence. Francis H. Shovelin, a Motor Machinist Mate 3rd Class, who had returned to the ship the previous day under guard of Shore Patrol, was issued a pending punishment for drinking during his shore patrol duty. And L.A. Chapman, Seaman 2nd Class, had his punishment pending on the decision of a gate sentry for being absent over liberty. L.A. Piccolo, Seaman Second Class, was also caught sleeping, on watch, and had 10 liberties removed. Following Captain's Mast, more torpedo attacks were made on the ship, and Ensign Filbert returned to act as observer. This continued until the end of the day, when Slater returned to Orange State Pier and moored with 6 lines. She ended the day by taking 5,640 gallons of fresh water aboard. As with every week, please remember you are subscribed to our channel here on YouTube, and be sure to follow us on Facebook. You can also support USS Slater by signing up for a membership. Your membership fee is used to support our volunteers and their work to restore and preserve USS Slater to her World War II configuration. You will receive our quarterly newsletter, Trim But Deadly, in the mail, our monthly electronic newsletter, Slater Signals, to your email inbox, free admission to tour the ship, as well as an invite to any events that we hold.